Hey everyone, how's it going? Gamer Doge here. With this video, I'm bringing you the tour of my build, of my take of an epic castle on Valheim. And guys, before I begin the video, let me tell you, it's gonna be a big one. Okay, we have lots of things to show, lots of details. So I'll add some timestamps in the bottom if you feel like you can watch some specific parts of the build. And I already want to apologize for the frame rates when we start the tour because, as mentioned, there are a lot of instances in the build, so the frame rates will drop a lot depending on the place. So yeah, that's unfortunately out of my control, but it should be enjoyable even then. Okay. I want to start talking about my inspirations, what led me to actually start building this castle. And I cannot go by without talking about the main inspiration for it. It's a video from the YouTuber Ghost Builds, and the video is named "The Biggest Castle Ever Built in Valheim," the Castle Fairfax. I'm gonna leave the link in the description so you guys can check it out, and I highly recommend you do, guys. It's an epic castle. It's very big, it's very beautiful, it's amazing. It's what actually got me into trying to build my own castle. And the thing is, his build, he mentions in the description that he had to use rocks, admin rocks, to maintain, the stability to actually be able to go very high. And he did go very high with the castle. Well, watch it, you're gonna see it. And what got me thinking is, okay, can I try to build that castle with, only the game mechanics without adding rocks or any kinds of mods? And that's what I tried to do. So you're gonna see that this castle here, my epic castle, it has no rocks spawned. I do take advantage of a tree that was in the landscape, and I use that to sustain the main tower. Well, I'm gonna show you there anyway. But no rocks were used, and no mods reducing or even negating the stability were used as well. So everything is built as the game would, allow. And the reason for that is because I wanted it to have the interior. That's the main thing with that build, with the my inspiration. There's no interior, and that's why he says there's no interior, because there are so many rocks around. And I wanted to try to do that build with the interior. So that's what actually got me going. And you're gonna see that my main hall, especially, is very similar to his. I took a lot of detailing as inspiration from his build. So the outside is gonna be a little similar. Of course, it's on a smaller scale because that's what the game supports. And of course, the interior is all mine because he doesn't have it, or at least he didn't show it. So yeah, and that's there will be some other aspects that will be you're gonna see are very similar, um, but that's the thing. I started the build trying to do that exact same castle, but on a smaller scale, as high and as big as the game would allow. But once I got the main hall basically, started, and I decided to go a different way. I decided to do my own castle. So yeah, but that's a big inspiration for this one. And another inspiration that I had that needs to be mentioned is another build from another YouTuber called named The Friendly Gamer. And Valheim How to Build a Mountaintop Castle is the video that I'm talking about. I'm also gonna leave it in the description, and I highly recommend you guys watch it. It's very informative, it's very nice. And my castle, it's kind of like a mixture of both castles in a way, because on one hand you have the Ghost Builds castle, which is very big, it's very beautiful, but kind of impractical, so like a dream castle. And on the other we have the Friendly Gamers castle, which is smaller but more solid, more practical, closer to the reality. So I tried to do something that is in the middle ground, not, too much fantasy and not too much reality, a little mixture of both, and that's what I went for in my build. Let me show you the layout of the castle before we move on further into detail. So the first part people would get into contact is there in the bottom, what we're gonna call the broken tower. That tower connects to the what would be the city if there was one, and then people would need to climb up there and then go into the castle itself through a drawbridge that we're gonna cover later on in detail. After moving the drawbridge, you get into the main tower, the big one that we see in the pictures and videos. So we're gonna call that the Magic Tower. The Magic Tower will lead you to the central tree, as we're gonna call, which is an area that kind of connects to a few places. One of those places it connects is the barracks over there, as we're gonna have the structure related to the army or the soldiers that are gonna be in this castle. Another place that the central tree connects will be the main building. As we can see, basically half of the whole castle is the main building, the main building related structures. So beginning there, you have the entrance, so people would need to go through there, and the entrance will connect to a few places. One of them is up north. We have the Watchtower, which is also a jail. It also has a connection to the barracks that we're going to cover later on, but of course that would be only for the officers and soldiers. Uh, we also have the main hall. The main hall will have, the on each side we're gonna have one wing on each side, so two wings. We're gonna cover into detail when we get to that area of the build. And then we have two gardens, so to speak, in two plazas. One of them is the private garden down the south there, which is closed. We're gonna have some trees and bushes. And we also have there at the back the King's Torch, which is basically a plaza with that big torch that we have there. I'm gonna show you as well. And this area there, the King's Torch, main house, and the Watchtower, we will have some hidden things, some secrets, some underground stuff. So keep it out and let's take a look deeper now. Okay, so the Broken Tower is gonna be the first thing that people that will come into the castle would go by, and let me show you a little bit about it. Of course, it's self-explanatory. You can see it is broken, and that effect was intended, but it didn't come at a first option. The first option was actually for it to be a smaller version of the Magic Tower, but I was running into major stability issues. As you can see here on the left side of the tower, uh, everything is going to be red, and the slabs and wooden structures and everything that I placed was breaking down. It got me so annoyed that I almost gave up on this tower, but I left it and finished the whole castle there. And the last thing I did was come back here and try to do something, and then it come to my mind like, okay, it's always breaking, so let's embrace it. Let's make it the broken tower. And I added some details, as you can see, some broken beams and roof and even the floor. As you can see there, the stairs. Let me do this. Sorry, the stairs. I have like some wooden makeshift stairs over there, some slabs and iron fences on the ground. Of course, if you imagine this was a full tower and it broke like this, there would be much more debris than what it is now. But let's say the castle is functional, so they cleared most of the stuff, but some leftovers were, here, which would, except this big slab here, would not affect people climbing up. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I did this. And in the end, I really enjoy the result. I think it adds a nice touch and leaves to the imagination what happened here. Maybe a failed siege. Someone tried to take over the castle, managed to break the entrance tower, but did not harm, didn't damage the castle itself. Or I don't know, maybe a giant dragon attacked, or hell, even Odin, maybe he was angry at somebody and destroyed it himself. We don't know. But what I want to talk to you about very quickly is that you can see that the lower part of the tower is pretty much the same thing. I didn't add any details. In the outside and on the inside, it's empty, okay? Well, the reason for this is that in the future,
I want to continue building this. I want to try to build the city down and go all the way down the mountain to until we get to the ocean. I don't know if my computer is going to survive such an endeavor because, as you can see here, the FPS is on 9 and 10. When you get closer to the core, it drops to 6, 7. So, and we are on 36,000 instances. So I don't know if my computer will survive such a thing, but that's my plan. So I will try to do it, and when I do, of course, I want that construction, the whole city, to connect with this. So it's then, yeah, I'll add detailing. I'll probably increase the diameter as we go down to make it more realistic, and even find some use here on the inside. Maybe some, support barracks or a army checkpoints to uh, you know to check people getting into the castle, because this is the only way in the castle. So yeah, that's it for the broken tower. Let's just climb up here. Alright, add some windows. As you can see, this is the part where it is broken. You have a nice view at least. And when we get to the top, like so, we find ourselves with the drawbridge. And then the drawbridge connects to the magic tower. This tower took me more than a week to build, so it was not easy to come up with it, but in the end I am also very happy. I consider it the crown jewel of the castle. That's even why I added these pointy things at the tail, kind of like, resembling a crown. But yeah, I think the most important thing to tell you is that here on the top we have the king's quarters, like the actual king's quarters. We're gonna have another one there at the main hall, which is a fake one, but this is where the king would actually live, considering this. Well, it's all covered in snow because my character is down there. Let me just come with it here so it loads up properly. Hold on a second. Alright, there we go. So yeah, this will have all the crafting stations. Again, guys, I apologize for the frame rate. As I mentioned, it's gonna be difficult in many places. This is one of them. And yeah, this is gonna be the king's quarters. You can see this different type of rugs spread around. Is not very beautiful, but I did this because of the game mechanics. They stack up on the comfort. So imagine the king would actually live here and go out on whatever adventures the game would provide. This would need to be used as a base for real. So yeah, that's why I have those. But anyway, let me go back here. Let's go back down. Ooh, so difficult to navigate. Okay, there we go. So, well, coming up on the drawbridge, you would come here, go up this stairs with this details on the roof, and this is the exit of the tower. I'm gonna show you better in a few minutes, but I wanted to show you is that I used a lot of wood on this tower because I want to show the importance of the tree, kind of like as if the tree and the tower were one and only, because they are. Without the tree, this tower would not exist. For those wondering what I'm talking about, here on the inside we have a tree that was already on the terrain, and which gave me the possibility to go that high. Without the tree, this tower would stop here. It's already all in the red here, so without it the tower would not exist. That's why I wanted to show you this importance. So that's why I put some green lights in here, that's why I use a lot of wood in the detailing. Here in the bottom I added this kind of like arch to resemble the tree roots, as if they were, sprawling out of the tower itself. Here on the inside I also added some what should look like some tree roots, but I would not lie. I'm not very happy with result, but that's what I could come up with, and that's it. Maybe later I'll change it. But anyway, and yeah, so the tower here, this iron gate here connects to the wall and wall defenses. Every time you see a iron gate, that means only soldiers and people with clearance would access it, so visitors would not access those. Here we have this balcony where people could, look in the entrance and maybe defend the castle if needed be. And here, this door, let me show you very quickly, will lead to this claustrophobic stairs, which would come here to this little bridge, and out there is a little balcony, nothing too big, but I left it here. I didn't actually want to have a balcony. The reason I made all of this is because I wanted to add stairs leading up to the top of the tower. But it was impossible to do it on the inside because of the tree. The tree branches and leaves would be all over your face. It would be impossible to navigate. And on the outside, that's what I was trying to do. I was not able to come up with a solution that I was happy with. I tried many things. I tried stairs like wooden stairs. I tried stone. I tried a mixture, but nothing was, good enough for me. So I ended up giving up on the idea and turned just into that little balcony over there. And the way to access the top of the tower is through a portal, which is inside the fake king's quarters. Well, because only the king himself would be able to access the top of the tower. So yeah, that's the thing. That's why even I call it a magic tower, because it is kind of magic, if you think this is one of the fantasy aspects of the castle. But yeah, that's about it for the magic tower. So when you go through the magic tower to get into the castle, you would need to go through these doors. I closed them to add the dramatic effect. You would come over here and find yourself facing the central tree, which is like the main garden people would have access to. Well, I wanted to put some green in here, even though we are on the top of the snow. Of course, green would not be possible, but I wanted to show that this land is a little bit magical. So I planted all these trees, of course these bushes and these little trees, the fir trees. I added them using a mod, which is called Plant Everything. And this big tree here, this big fir, it was already here, so I took advantage of it as well. So both trees that were here on the land, this one and the one on the tower, I kept them and used them as part of the build as well. I had to add these roofs around the tree because I wanted these bushes and little trees here to be green, as if the big tree was protecting them from the snow, which would actually be the case in the real world. Kind of. I know the snow doesn't fall only, vertically. But anyway, it would protect them. But the game mechanics doesn't allow that. Everything was, with snow. That's why I added this, just to add this little touch, this little effect, showing as the big tree protecting the little ones. And here, this open part of the garden, the plaza, I imagine some trading would be going on here, if the castle was, populated, of course. And on the other side here, let me show you. We have this little bridge, which will go down there in a second. This is the barracks, and this torch bonfire thing. And here we have kind of like a lookout thing. Yeah, I don't know why this bonfire keeps, turning off all the time, and it turns back on by itself. I don't really know. Anyway, and another part of the garden here that I want to show you is this. I added this little bridge, which was not necessary, technically speaking. I just added it for looks. I think it looks cool. And it connects to the entrance of the main building. We'll go there as well in a second. But before we go there, I just want to show you, there's this stone here that was already here. I also took advantage of it. As you can see, we have some vegetation, some plants growing under the bridge, providing cover from the snow, some of them sprawling out. And here on this side we have this little gazebo-like thing with a table with some chairs. People can play or chat. And here we have the dragon statue, which is something that I really like. I like the result. It's not complicated, but I think it looks cool. The wings came across and came up very nicely. And you can see under the dragon statue we have a little iron gate there. Connects to the barracks. I'll show you when we go to the barracks, which is actually what we're gonna do now. So to get into the barracks, we have three possible ways. One of them is this one, which would be the main exit of the barracks actually. You can see it's a wide area because this one will lead to what would be the stables. So of course we don't have horses in the game unless you're using the mod owning horse. I didn't want to use it here for this build. So of course we would have the separate places for each horse if we had it. But they would stay here, they would be here, and in case of an emergency, soldiers would rush up here, grab a horse, and run here, which I will show you very quickly. Goes directly into the entrance, so very easy of access for the soldiers to defend the castle if needed be. Right here, coming up this way, we have the armory and the smithy. So we have some ready to go armors and weapons. Soldiers could grab them, grab it, hop onto the horse and go defend the castle. On this side here we have the furnaces and the kilts, so like a support for the smithy. This is open but hidden from the eyes of visitors. They would not see this from the castle perspective. And this here is the gate under the dragon statue. Okay, so this is another, of course, not for everyone, but another access to the barracks. So here we have two blast furnaces that will pop the smoke out. Oh, sorry, the game was saving. So they pop the smoke out here on this chimney. I'll show you later on. Let's move up. And up here in the stairs we have, let me start here, the mess hall, or the dining place where the soldiers would eat. I didn't add much detail here. I wanted to have like plates and food and tankards, but I had to cancel that because the frame rate is bad as it is. So I had to reduce the detailing as much as possible. And here we have a storage for the kitchen with some extra tables and benches and extra supplies for the kitchen. This here, guys, in case you're wondering, is because when I started I had wolves and boars down there where the horses would be. And this is the boar and wolf farm technique. If you don't know how it works, check it out on YouTube. There are plenty of videos. But I had to kill them all because of the frame rates. I tried to reduce as much as possible on the things inside. Yes, if you're wondering, it's bad now. It was even worse before I did all the cleaning. But anyway, here we have a bedroom with some bunk beds for the soldiers. And here on this side is another bedroom with more bunk beds for the soldiers. Of course, a castle this big in a real world would have more beds than what we have now, but still I wanted to have some just to show that I was, concerned with this level of detail. And up here we have a map where, officers could talk to the soldiers about the plans. We have a nice view of the Courtyard, so nice defense position. And you can also have a good view of the back side of the castle. Of course, let's pretend I'm able to do the city that I want to do. This side is going to be empty. It's going to be all mountain. Okay, so of course, probably nobody would, invade the castle through this side. But, you never know. Assassins might pop up, so you need to have lookouts on all sides of the castle. Okay, so that's about it for the barracks. Now let's move on into the main building. The main building, we'll start here with the entrance. The entrance leads to this hall where we have the king's tree, which adds a nice touch to this place. This tree was not here originally. I also planted it and these bushes I planted with the Plant Everything mod, but I'm happy with it. I tried to keep this area minimalistic because the tree itself is, what you're looking for, what you want to look at. And moving up here, before we go there, which is the main hall, I just want to show you that on this side and on this side, we have gates on both sides. Of course, again, iron gates, only people with clearance would access them, so no visitors. This right side leads to the private garden, and the left side leads to the Watchtower and jail. So let's say somebody is convicted there, because of course the king would judge whether people committed crimes or anything. They would quickly be taken here and be imprisoned in the jail if needed be, if that was the sentence. So moving on, here is the main hall with this little pathway of red carpet leading to this platform where the subjects, the people would stay here to ask favors or talk to the king whenever necessary. Of course, the king here would be protected by the elite guard and sit here to judge the subjects. So we can see a little of the detailings of the main hall. Okay, now let's continue. Alright, on this side, on this wing here, we have tables and benches, a fireplace. So any kinds of, celebrations, parties, feasts, people would sit here and eat. On the other side here, we have the support wing, which has, some crafting tables, and we have the kitchen as well. Here I added more details to the kitchen because this is the main kitchen. And here we have a little garden with some, seasoning plants. These plants were also planted with the Plant Everything mod. And yeah, here on the kitchen, we have two stairs, one going up and another one going down. The one going down leads to the kitchen supply room and also a little bedroom. Maybe there are some kitchen staff that needs to be 24/7 here in the castle, so they could sleep there. And oh my god, the stairs going up will lead to these blue banners, which I'm gonna show you. Let me just kill this bricks. I'm gonna show you in a second where that is. But before we go there, let's come back here and I'll show you. So here on this part of the castle, we have two doors. That left door is for the king only, and whoever he deems possible. But this one is for the king's guests. So whenever the king has guests, they would come here. Here's an access to the king's storage. I'll show you better later on. But for now, let's climb up this stairs. We have some glass here, windows, and this are the king's guest rooms. So the guests would sleep in these rooms. They are not gigantic, but they are very cozy, comfortable. They have some wardrobes for themselves, window looking at the private garden, and we have 3 of those. Another one here, and another one here, so the king could have a couple guests at the same time. This one is a bigger one. We even have a desk here, but besides that, it's the same. And at the end here, we have a little bathroom. Let me show you here. So yeah, the toilet, not bathroom, but the toilet, because the nobles need a place to do their things. Don't ask me about the plumbing. Don't ask me where the stuff goes or how the water comes in here. It's magic, okay? It's a magical castle. Just accept that. Anyway, so crossing this little bridge here, we come to the private dining. So the king and the guests would eat here. A nice, ventilation here. very spacious with looking at the King's Court as well. And these are the blue banners that I was talking about. So the kitchen staff would come here to serve through this entrance. So, you know, they would not cross paths with the nobles having to use their way. They just come here, serve, take out the whatever needs to be taken out, and go back down there. So we have different paths. And this door here will lead to the King's Quarters. As I mentioned, this is actually a fake King's Quarters, or a secondary one if you prefer to call it that. The main one is on the top of the tower. But we have lots of glass to show, you know, I'm powerful. There's a little balcony here looking at the King's Torch. And whoops. Yeah, sorry if you get a little diesel with the, you know, the tour guys, because the frame rates did not help much. And this door leads to the, yeah, the throne. Okay, so yeah, I'll just leave it there. Anyway, coming here, this is the portal that leads to the top of the tower. Okay, so only the king would have access, and whoever he deemed necessary. I have already showed you, so let's come back here. Okay, before we go down there, which is going to be the last thing on our tour, I just want to go here and show you. As you can see, we have double doors. Double door. Because this leads to the jail and watchtower. Show you. So yeah, this door here, if you come, that door is the one in the entrance that I told you, that I showed you. So people, the soldiers would come here. If they go up, they go to the watchtower. There's not much there, but I want to show you very quickly. It has a decent view of the castle. I added, you know, a tank here just, you know, for them to have something to drink. And here, a desk with some chairs, table actually. And then there's a nice view around the castle. Nice view of the barracks as well, so they could communicate. And a decent view of the courtyard. I know, not very good for defense, but more for the lookout here off the back. Okay, and coming down, okay, coming down here we have the jail. So a little desk here for the lookout, and the jail, one cell here. And coming down here we have another cell with a window, because, you know, we want to have the criminals pay their thing, not die suffocated. So if you want to know, this window here leads to the side of the wall. Double bars to prevent anyone from, you know, trying to break in or out. And yeah, that's about it for the jail and watchtower. So now let's go back to that place that we were before. Oh god. Yeah, I added some bunk beds here just in case the watchtower guards need a place to sleep. Of course, no, they would not have access here because this goes to the king's quarters, but they need access to this door here. Because down here we have a very important part of the castle, which is, well, first we have the crypts. So some tombs here where the ancestors would be buried. Of course it would be bigger, but I think it's good enough for this build. And coming down here we have the vault, the treasure. Okay, as you can see, the treasure is not very full right now because the kingdom wasted a lot of it to build the castle, but still we have some gold and shinies there. And yeah, the soldiers would need to have access to this place without interfering with the king's quarters or going in and out from the main hall. So that's why I added that little back door there. And yeah, here we have the guards post that would be 24/7 protecting the treasury. We don't want to have anyone stealing our gold and valuables, right? So, of course, only very loyal and trustworthy soldiers and officers would stay here. But yeah, that's it. That's the post. And now to finish, we have this little touch here, which is an emergency exit. So let's say, I don't know, something crazy happened and someone managed to breach the castle and get in. The king and whoever necessary would have this, escape route to flee into the mountains. So yeah, this is about it, guys. To finish it, let me just show you some things on the exterior. So we have different types of wall decorations. Uh, this one is one of them with the stone arches. This is what we have the most around, which are small arches with this dark wood detailing. Uh, and here we have another one. Let me go faster. Which is actually the barracks. I wanted the barracks to be different from everything else, as if it were like a big chunk of stone to show, the military aspect of the build. So yeah, that's about it. And here, the final touch, we have a game cave, which I would love to be able, to connect it and build something inside, but we know that's not how it works. I know there are mods to do it, but I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So some final things to say. When it comes to the building itself, as mentioned, I did not use any admin rocks, so everything is based on the game stability. Besides that big tower, which is relying on the tree, but that's a game mechanic itself. So yeah, and the tree was already there. And I didn't add any extra mods. I know there are some mods that add different building pieces. uh, I didn't use any of that, so it's all vanilla. I didn't add that mod that you can rotate stuff like crazy. So it's all the rotation, and this is a building that you can do it by yourself. You don't accept the plants, the bushes and things, which I use to plant everything, which is a mod that you would then need to have. Besides that, you can do it yourself, with your own, without having to mod anything. Of course, this is built on creative. I didn't have to farm the resources for this, and it doesn't make sense to build a castle like this on, the survival game here, because it's much easier to just raise the ground and make walls of the ground that you don't need to repair and that monsters cannot go through. So yeah, there's no point in building a castle itself on survival, on my opinion, of course. That's why, but I wanted to do this as I explained in the beginning, and yeah, that's what it is. I hope you have enjoyed. If I missed anything, let me know. If you want to know anything else about the build, let me know. I'll try to start, working on the city that I mentioned down here, but it's probably gonna take a while. This castle here took me more than 2 months to build, so God knows how much I'll be able, because not only is it gonna be difficult because of the terrain, but I'll have to build it with 10 FPS, while this castle, only half of it I had to build with 10 FPS before I managed to do with, a smoother situation. So, but yeah, as soon as I have that, I'll definitely post something here. If you want to see that, check it out, subscribe. And yeah, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your time. Sorry for the long videos. Sorry for the, frame rates. But yeah, see ya.